Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be making this beautiful bikini bra, and these are the materials that I use for this project. I used two different colors of size 4 cotton yarn and a 4.5 millimeter hook. You need a scissors, a darning needle, a stitch marker, and also a book to be able to note down your measurement. And as for measurement, you need to start by measuring your bottom cup, which would be from your under boob to your mid nipple. For me, it was 3¼ inches, so I had to chain up as many chains to get to that measurement, which was 10 chains. Chain 2 and go into the third chain with a half double crochet, and then go into every single chain with a half double crochet until you have one chain remaining. After I placed 9 half double crochets on the last chain, I'm going to place 2 half double crochets and then chain 2 and place another 2 half double crochets into that same chain, and this would bring you around on the other side, and you're going to mirror exactly what you just did by placing a half double crochet into every single chain. Now I'm just going to tuck in my ends here just so I don't have to weave it in later. This is optional. Now make sure to go into that very last chain, and at the end of this round you should have a total of 22 half double crochets, 11 half double crochet on one side, a chain 2 in the middle, and then 11 half double crochet on the other side. This is what it should look like. This is me counting my stitches, and you should do the same at this point before we move on to the second round. Round 2, ding ding ding! So just chain up 2 to build up your work as usual, and then go into that very first stitch with a half double crochet and into each and every stitches with a half double crochet. But when you get to the chain 2, you're going to place 2 half double crochet, chain 2, and place another 2 half double crochet. This is where your stitch marker would come in handy for you. You want to make sure you're going into the very last stitch right before the chain 2, right there. That one is what I'm talking about. Make sure you get it. And then in that chain 2, you're going to place that 2 half double crochet, chain 2, and then another 2 half double crochet into that same chain 2 space. And then you're going to repeat the same thing by going into every single stitch with a half double crochet up until the end. And at the end of this row, you should have a total of 26 stitches. So 13 stitches on one side, chain 2 in the middle, and then 13 stitches on the other side. So you're going to repeat this pattern for a total of 8 rounds if you are a size medium like me. If you are a size small, you should probably do 7 rounds. Extra small, you should do 6 rounds. And if you're large, you should do 9 rounds. I'm going to insert a chart here to help guide you. For accurate sizing, I would advise to minus 1 inch from your width, just so that when you make your border with your second color, you would have exactly that measurement in the chart. When you've completed how many rounds you need, you're going to put that aside and grab your second color, or you can stick to the same color and repeat the same pattern for your second cup. Make sure to start with the same amount of chains that you started with to make sure that you end up with the same amount of stitches at the end. So now that we've completed both cups, you're going to switch colors now for your border, and this is how you're going to switch your colors. So when you go into that last half double crochet stitch, you're going to act like you're making a half double crochet. So go into that stitch and pull the yarn through. Now before you pull the final yarn through, you're going to switch colors. So I'm using passion fruit. I'm going to pick up my passion fruit color and pull that through all 3 hoops on the hook, like so. And then you're going to tug the ends of both yarn to secure your stitch. Chain 3 and then turn your work. We are doing the picot stitch for the border. So make your chain 3, turn your work, and also make sure to tug your ends to secure that chain. And you're going to go into the very first chain that you made with a slip stitch. So go in there, pull the yarn through the chain, and then pull the yarn through the last loop. Next, you're going to single crochet into the very next stitch, not the same stitch, the next one. And that is how you make your picot stitch. It's so pretty. It is good for making edges and borders. And then you're going to repeat the same thing all around. So chain 3, go into the very first chain with a slip stitch, skip the next stitch, and single crochet into the following stitch, like so. This is what your work should look like. Now, because I started off with an even number of chains, I'm going to end up in the chain 2. If you started off with an odd number, you're good to go. You can just skip your chain 2. But for those that have an even number of stitches, you don't want to end up in your chain 2 space. And I'm going to show you how I did that part. So you're going to skip your next stitch as usual. But because we're ending up in the chain 2 space, we are going to single crochet the chain 2 space and the next chain together, or the next stitch together. So go into that chain, go into the next stitch, and then you're going to single crochet all 2 together. And then continue with your border by making a picot stitch. So slip stitch into the very first chain you made, skip the next stitch, and single crochet into the following stitch. When you're done making your picot stitch border, you're going to make a single crochet border on the bottom part of your cup. Now for this part, you're going to go into every single half double crochet row. So because I had 8 rounds, I'm going to have 16 single crochets. So 8 single crochets on one side and 8 on the other side. For example, if you did a total of 9 rounds, then you should have 18 single crochets. If you did 6 rounds, then you should have 12 single crochets. So make sure that you are going into each row and not in between. Make sure that each sides have the same amount of stitches. When you're done with your single crochet border, you're going to switch now to the picot stitch to finish off your border. So chain up 3, go into the very first chain with the slip stitch and single crochet into the next stitch. And keep doing the same thing by chaining up 3, slip stitch into the very first chain, skip the next stitch, and single crochet into the following stitch. At the end of this row, as opposed to doing a single crochet, I went into that last stitch with a slip stitch and then chain 1 and fasten off. And you're going to repeat the same process for your second cup. And once you're done with that, we're just going to make our straps. To make your straps, pick a corner of your work and insert your hook, pull up the yarn and just tie that on like I'm doing. And then you're going to chain up as many chains as you would like for your straps. You can make as many. I think I did about 80 chains. This is optional, like I said. If you want longer chains, then obviously do longer chains. If you want shorter, just make sure it's long enough for you to tie at your back. When you're done with that, you're going to skip one chain and go into the second chain with a slip stitch. This is optional. You could actually do a single crochet, or you could actually do just the chains for your straps. But because I have bigger boobs and need the support, so I'm going to go into every single chain with a slip stitch, and you're going to repeat the same steps for your second cup, and then you're going to make your straps at the tippy point of your bra for the straps to tie around your neck. After making my straps, I chained up about 99 chains for lacing the front part of my bra. So you're going to chain up as many as you need. I'm going to loop that into my darning needle to help me lace that using the corset style lacing. So count 4 picot stitches. And then I'm going to insert my needle in the stitch underneath that, and then I'm going to go into the second cup using the same pattern. So count 4 picot stitch and go into the stitch underneath that and pull it through, and then I'm going to go back and forth. When you're done lacing your bikini bra, you are officially done. So big ups to you. Don't forget to tag me in your pictures, and thanks for watching.